Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Roger Wakefield here. It is rotation. It's Wednesday morning. It's Whiskey Wednesday.
Whiskey Wednesday, hump day. It's all downhill from here. So happy to be here.
And I feel like I need whiskey today, man. I tell you what, I was in the Dominican Republic a couple of weeks ago, a cruise. It wasn't even last week now. It was the week before, wasn't it?
You're just walking by bars all the time, ain't you? It was 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
yes.
I thought so. But man, I've had a sore throat here lately, starting to fight off an upper respiratory infection. And man, I've got this Aura ring. And literally this morning it told me, it says, hey, this is your body's giving us signals that you're not feeling well. You may want to stay home today and rest if you can. And Randy said, no, you can't. I said, but Randy, please. You know how the kids are saying to their parents, hey, I want to stay home and miss school today. I called my son and said, hey, can I miss work today? He said, no, you can't.
Nope.
So it's like, okay, I'll be there. But it's pretty neat that Aura tells me, hey, here's what's wrong. Here's what's happening. Your temperature is starting to rise. Your heart rate is rising. And your breathing's not right. So it's like, man, this is really pretty cool. And it says, hey, we're letting you know this up front, just so you know. So today's video is sponsored by Leak Pro. If you want to find the most precise leak detection system for plumbers, go to www.leak-pro.com. And if you're already subscribed and you haven't, ring the bell. Make sure you ring the bell, turn the notifications on. That way you're reminded when we go live and we can sit and talk. We'd love to hear what you've got to say. We've already got comments in here. I'm talking to TikTok and Instagram over here. Hopefully some of those people will jump over and let us hear their questions and things like that. But we're going to go ahead and jump in, but we're going to talk about national news because the U.S. construction workforce sees its biggest growth in a decade. And guys, I got to tell you, I think it's going to get bigger faster.
Yes, big time. They've noticed an 8% year over year. And we know that year over year, our populations are growing also. So that 8% is getting larger and larger also. But it increasing this year over the last decade is huge because the more population, the more buildings we need, the more homes we need, the more offices we need to work in, everything. It's all requires more tradespeople.
More people need more room. I mean, it's pretty simple to figure out.
That's it. Like, we're always building and expanding and growing, as are you, I hope. And guess what? You're going to need that next space to expand into. In our growth, we all need more trades, more work.
Okay. I'm going to get on my soapbox because I don't know if y'all have ever heard me say this before, but supply and demand is rough right now in the trades. We need more people in the trades. And with the federal infrastructure and all the money they're throwing behind it now, guys, we're going to need even more. And anybody out there who's thinking, man, I've always thought about being a plumber, being an electrician, being an HVAC contractor, whatever it is, if it's in the trades, there's a demand for it. And with the average age of construction workers in the U.S. up in the mid to upper 50s, in the next 5 to 7 years, there's going to be a lot of people retiring. Imagine the median age is 58, okay? 65 isn't very far from there, like 7 years down the road. And I'm a plumber. It's quick math. But in 7 years, somebody getting in the trades today could already be through their apprentice training program.
Yep.
They could already get their master's. They could already be studying business, accounting. They could be studying management and leadership. They could be working for a company that's helping them grow. Guys, the people getting in the trades now are going to be the next entrepreneurs. These are going to be your next business owners. And it's because of things like this, but wage increases are starting to attract more people into the trades. And guys, I'm going to get up even higher. I'm going to tiptoe on my soapbox now because I've been saying for the last 2 years, look, 2 years ago, I started saying in 5 years, I think plumbers are making $100 an hour on their check.
Yep.
And I don't know if y'all know this, but the new president coming in says, hey, we're not going to tax overtime anymore.
Yeah, that's...
Dude, when you're making, let's just say $30 an hour, And now you can go in Saturday for 45 an hour and you're not going to be taxed on that.
It's going to be life
It's a
changing for a
jackpot.
lot of people
It is.
because that's extra bills that can be paid. That's extra meals that you can feed your family. So many extra things. And like, I love whenever I first heard no tax on overtime
Or tips.
tips,
Waiters
like,
and bartenders, which is a great part-time
That's
job
huge.
for a lot of people.
Yep.
Guys, this is good. This is just good stuff.
I instantly went back to my days because I used to work 7 days a week on jobs for 3.5 months, 4 month
Oh, yeah.
stints. That's what I enjoyed. And a lot of guys would struggle with Sundays because of how hard we got taxed when you work 7 days a week.
And Sundays in the union are double time.
I was about to say, those were double time.
So now
for
that's a
us.
$60 an hour day.
So I broke my mind. And every Sunday when I walked in, I told the guys, hey, I'm here to pay Uncle Sam today.
Yeah, let them have today. I get the rest of it.
My labor today pays Uncle Sam so I can keep my other 6 days myself.
Such a good way to do it.
I think this way with no tax on overtime is tremendous because this actually helps the ones that do put in that extra work that aren't scared to commit to these long projects because it requires a lot from a person. Don't overtax them because they work more than everybody else.
Yeah.
It's not fair. So I love this.
And the cool thing is the residential and commercial predictions for the last few years, we've exceeded those. So guys, my projection of $100 an hour is going to come sooner than I think. And it's supply and demand. I'm letting y'all know this is the time to get in the trades. Now we're going to roll right down to the bottom line because we talk about that for the worker. But Randy, how can entrepreneurs keep their profit margins strong?
Well, with rising material costs, the competition in that market, you've got to be very competitive. You've got to reach out to multiple suppliers now. You actually have to get quotes on things because you do need the best price that you can get. And different companies are going to get different factors, as we always call them, multipliers on the percent of what you pay, depending on how much you buy from that place. And different places buy more or less than others. So reach out there and try to be competitive in your pricing. Materials is the one that's really hard. Labor is another huge one.
And I think labor's the hardest.
I understand.
Because if you're a good estimator, you've got me a complete material list of everything I'm going to need on that job. If you've done your job, and I must say, right, you put in fluff. It's like, well, hey, look, we know they're going to use more 90s than this, but materials are something that shouldn't change. If Squirt took the job off right, if I read the material list right, if I did my takeoff right, I ordered the right materials, and my guys put it in the way it's drawn, we should be good. It doesn't always work that way, and we know that. But labor, man, if you give a guy an hour to do a job and it takes him 2 because he had to go look for materials and stuff, your labor just doubled. And people say, well, Roger, it's a 1-hour project. That really doesn't matter. No, those are the ones that eat you up.
Yep.
It's the big projects where you can cut time. I can take a 200-hour project, and to be honest, I can probably get that done in 160 hours if I help my guys right. Put the materials, the tools, the equipment, anything they need out in front of them. And that's me doing it. Now, I'm superintendent. I hate to say this, non-productive overhead. Okay? I don't produce nothing because I don't get in the field. I do if they're on overtime. I'll come in and help them solder or get on a lift, do something. But at the end of the day, labor's where it can kill you. But you need a great estimator in the beginning, making sure your pricing is right, making sure, hey, we've got this price locked in. If the price doubles in 2 months, I don't care. The vendor's already sold it to me at this price.
That's it.
And their cojones are tied to it, and they know it. So that's a big deal.
I was going to say a huge thing if that is the right takeoff because that material list, that's what your labor hours are based on.
Yep.
So keep that in mind too, that if you, I can recall, we did a large job. They missed every deck drain on the whole thing. Luckily, we did well enough on the project that we had enough hours built into the job because foresights and prefabrication and things like this, we were able to swallow that loss and still came out smelling great on the end.
You know, and look, it normally doesn't happen that way.
That's it.
Normally, when you miss something, you not only you've got to buy the materials that you did not put in that estimate, you also didn't put the labor dollars in it to install that. So it normally eats you. If you miss something, it's normally not a very good thing at all. So just make sure that you understand all that. But guys, also understand, you as a plumber, you as a foreman, as a superintendent, or as an owner, labor is what we need to watch more than anything else, because labor is what it's all about. That's the only varying factor that can really come in, and it can haunt you, it can kill you, it can make everything horrible.
And getting that right crew balance.
Yeah.
You can't have too many green guys and only one that knows what they're doing. You've got to have that good balance to keep everything flowing smooth, to hit all your labor hours and keep them on point.
All right, rolling into safety. Now, we talk about ladders a lot. I've fallen off ladders twice. Once I almost lost my section of underwear right where you don't want to lose it. And once falling off a 12-foot ladder and landing on my heels and my forearms. And luckily at the time, I'd been playing football a couple of years before, so I was still in great shape. But when I hit the ground, I landed on my forearms, not my elbows, not my hands, not my wrists. I had my forearms down and my heels down, but my heels swole up about that big. But Randy, falls are the leading cause of fatalities. Slips, trips, and falls, number one accident on a job. Almost every single job you go on.
Yes. Falls are huge. I used to work on lots of high rises, lots of rooftops. I'd stay on the roof all summer. We knew our rules. Once you were within X amount of feet of that edge, you got to be tied off. And I was on one job site. They wanted 100% tie off on the roof. This was a 1,000 foot by 600 foot roof.
Wow.
You had to be tied off 100% of the time. So we had carts, we had safety lines that we could tie, so many different things that we were always doing. And then finally, we had approached the safety man enough times that we installed a barrier around the whole roof.
So yeah, 6 foot back
Spent
from
the
the edge.
extra
Yep,
money.
yep.
It was 15, I think it's 15 feet for non-roofers. I said, look, if we put those flags so that when we hit that spot, we know we've got to be tied off.
Yep.
We are going to put things in place to keep us from doing it. But it is a 1,000 foot by 600 foot roof. Explaining that to them at how we were going to still keep fall protection 100% in place. They finally gave us the leeway and said, okay, we do understand. This is a huge roof. Like if you fall on this roof, there's not enough, you're not going to roll off the roof.
You're not going to bounce 300 feet to get to the edge. And I love that though. But harnesses and guardrails are huge.
Yes.
And guys, here's the deal. If you're, and I think on a roof it's 6 feet. Y'all may say yours at 15. You may not have. Look, we have nothing
it's
outside
15
of 15
for non-roofers.
Okay.
A roofer 6 feet.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the deal. If Randy's out working in that 15-foot area and OSHA comes up, everybody on the roof gets fined. If one person does things wrong, if there's a guardrail on a floor that somebody took off because they were trying to roll something closer to the edge or whatever, if that guardrail's taken off the floor, everybody on the floor is in trouble because there's an OSHA violation. And they don't just say, oh, who did this? Well, I did it. Then you're in trouble. No, everybody here is in trouble because they allowed it to happen and they didn't stop and say, wait, do this. Always use harnesses and guardrails like you're supposed to. And inspect your ladders every day. And not just ladders, but freaking scaffolds and things like that. Anything to work high.
Check the weight ratings, guys. There's like ladders, they're built to different grades and different qualities. If you've got a big, heavy thing to carry, probably going to need 2 guys for that, just so y'all know.
And I'm the worst about that because I used to carry 6-inch pipe on my shoulder when I was much younger and dumber. And I would literally have 2 clevis hangers up, and I knew I could come up 3 steps, tilt back. I could aim it and hit that one. And if I'd roll my arm, I could twist it a little bit and get it in there. Now I could climb up 2 more and get it leveled out. Now I could roll it in and slide it back to the other one. I don't know what 6-inch cast iron weighs, but it's over 100 pounds.
Yep.
I'm just saying, the ladders that we were using, probably 250 pounds. That's a good ladder. That's an A class, I think. There are some made for 300. I've got like the double-sided A-frame ladder. You can, 2 people can climb up each side. It's made for it.
Yep.
As long as they're both under 150 pounds.
That's it. So, you know, check these things. No, get the right ladder for the right job. Get one that's tall enough for what you need, not too tall for what you need either. Pick the right ladder. Make sure and check it, inspect it. It's very important. Make sure it's rated for what you're doing for the day.
And make sure you got it set up right. Make sure your ladder placement. I mean, think about me falling down on this piece of conduit, guys. I should have looked at where I have my ladder set up and changed the location before I ever got up there. So, new construction. And man, this is something that we cover a lot. And it's going to keep coming back up. But modular construction for commercial. Now, I told you about being down at Ahern and Extreme and all this down there. I'm literally watching them build, I think it was a Dutch Brothers Coffee and a Taco Bell. And they're building it in a warehouse. Warehouse probably got 40-foot ceilings. We're watching them frame it. We're watching the electricians working there. We were there at lunch. I asked where the plumbers were. They were smart enough to be on break. I'm just saying. But the whole cool thing about it is, guys, you're watching them build a building, everything from installing the booths, the chairs, the tables, everything. Then they unbolt it, put it on a trailer, and ship it out and say, this is going to San Antonio, Texas.
You know what the coolest thing about that is? Compared to building that in place, that's going to be 40 to 50% faster. And we used to think that restaurants get thrown up pretty quick for around 40 to 50% faster than that.
All right. I got a question here, and this is kind of a good spot because we're talking. It says, I got a job offer to be a rep for Bradford Wyatt. Right now, I'm sales for a local plumbing company. What's the better job if pay is similar? And my thought is, if pay is similar, I like the rep for the Bradford because you get to travel around, meet a lot of different companies. The networking there is phenomenal. What are your thoughts?
So I had a welder kind of ask me this one time on a job. He got offered a teaching position. And the thing I'm going to ask you, Duke, is what's going to make you happier? Would you rather be at sales at that local plumbing and not have to travel and do things? Or are you interested in traveling and seeing more and getting some other experiences? It depends on what's going to make you happy. If you're perfectly happy where you're at and the pay is similar, do you want to leave? Do you want to learn some new experiences? Get out there and grow and evolve. Not sure where you're at in life right now, but that's one thing I think is what's going to make you the happiest, and try to follow that.
And here's the deal. Look, Squirt traveled. I didn't. Matter of fact, when I traveled to Fort Worth, I made them pay me. I made them pay me extra. I made them put new tires on my truck every year because I got a big old jacked up truck with 37-inch tires. They ain't cheap. And if I'm driving 100 miles a day, it adds up. And guys, look, what you get paid is negotiable. And this is in the union. As a superintendent, actually as a quality control manager. And I'm like, hey, I want this much money. I want this. I want this. I want this. I want a gas card. I mean, I want holidays. I want vacation. And I remember sliding it across the desk or the dining room table. We went and met for breakfast when I was finishing up Great Wolf Lodge.
Yep.
And we went and met for breakfast. He said, man, I need you. We got a job coming up. I said, okay. He said, make me an offer. And he made me an offer. I said, man, I'll make more than that here. But understanding getting the right people in to build things and do things, make it work. So I love, and look, we're talking about what kind of job you want. It's what makes you the happiest. I love the networking. I think traveling around and meeting a bunch of different companies would be great. But you know what? You may say, hey, look, man, I love being in my city and taking care of people and walking in and talking to them. So Duke, I hope that helps you out. And then Early Loza says, Houston, we don't have a problem. We're doing okay. But look, how can tradespeople get into modular construction? What's going to be the best way if that's something they're interested
I'd say develop a relationship with any prefab manufacturers that you can get involved with, like Ahern and Extreme, things like that. Places that you can locate and find. You can research across the internet, search some places, see if there's anything close to you that they're actually prefabbing things, and this is becoming a thing. Try to get involved with those people, salespeople, the distributors, different things. Reach out to the manufacturers, and then also gain some experience in prefabrication techniques, like an assembly line style of thinking really goes a long way in prefabricated things. If you're doing one, but you need 20, can you go ahead and do 20 at one time to repeat that exact process over and over really quickly? Or is it better to build one at a time? So you just think about it different ways.
All right. We're going to move into mindset growth. And I love that because that's a mindset too. Do I want to work indoors? Do I want to go to the same warehouse every day for the next 10 years and learn how to build all these different restaurants? But you're going to learn a lot of cool stuff. So mindset, the power of setting business goals in the trades. And most business owners don't put together budgets. And you've got to be able to build a budget to hit targets. You've got to be able to build budgets to know what your numbers are, what numbers you're trying to hit, what your goals are. And I hate to say this about tradespeople. Most of us, we get in the trades, we get our license, and we stop learning. And that's just not a good thing to do. But learning how to set business goals, learning how to build budgets, learning how to build things like this can literally help determine whether your business is going to make it or not. You don't just go buy new tools because it's like, hey, we got money in the bank right now. Go buy a whole bunch of new tools. No, let's determine how much money we're doing each month, because this month may be great. We may be able to look at our historical data and say, hey, next month is going to suck.
Yep.
Don't spend everything on tools this month. We might need to keep guys in the shop 1 or 2 days just cleaning the shop to help them get their hours in. And looking at stuff like this is big. But Randy, what are some tips for goal setting? What should people know when it comes time to set goals?
Well, so one of the things that I really like about goal setting is it lets everybody on your team know what we're trying to do. What are we trying to accomplish? Creating a clear set goal that you can actually achieve, you can document, you can actually take a look at some stats and some data that support what your goal you're trying to reach. Being able to look at that and watch that and to let the team know where we're at towards our goal is huge. So always pass that information on. Really invest in some team development. You want to ensure that your employees are cross-trained and certified for anything that they need to do. Like we talk about that a lot with equipment. Are you certified on multiple pieces of equipment so that you can actually do everything that needs to be done for that small job, so that we don't have to send 3 different operators out or multiple people because they're not certified in everything. So try to train your guys to be well-rounded, being able to do different things like that. And that's a huge goal to set, that they can all see, oh, here's the things that I am certified in. Here's the ones I still need. Gamify it. Gamify it. First one to get them all gets free dinner or something like that. Some incentive that hugely helps.
And I love that because, and I've got different ways that I do goals. I've got a 1-3-6, 1-3-5. 1-3-6, or set your monthly goals. Where do you want to be in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months? Then the 1-3-5 is, where do I want to be in 1 year, 3 year, and 5 years? And you should look at these every month and upgrade them. If there's something you wanted to have done at the end of this month and it didn't get done, carry it over to the next month. If you got everything you wanted done this month, next month, make new goals that are going to help you get to your 3 month and 6 month. And constantly look at these things. And then it's easy to say, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm not working on this. I've skipped over this. But learn to look at it. Another neat thing is, and I walked into a company here in Dallas that was one of my mentors, and they had a 12-month calendar up it was broken down into weeks. So you had week 1 through 13, there's a quarter. Week 14 through 26, there's a quarter. Think about that. The first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. Then each month was colored. Did they hit the numbers they were trying to hit the numbers they're trying to hit for the year? Guys, putting it up there where your people see it every day is amazing. And then the only thing that I thought about sitting and looking at this, at the end of each month, I would have put down what plumber did the best job. Because I'm kind of competitive.
Shout them out.
And I'm like, hey, I want my name up on there. So learn to look at stuff like that and say, hey, how can we set our goals, but let our team know about them? That way they help us hit them. Because it's your team hitting your goals. If you have goals and you don't share them with your team, guess what? Kind of hard for them to hit. So I'll get off my soapbox there, but I will tell you this. Look, if you're subscribed to the channel, if you're not, just hit the subscribe button. But make sure you ring the bell, get notified. We do this each and every day at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, but we also still release podcasts every now and then. So make sure that you ring the notification bell, turn it on. That way you see what we're doing. Squirt, talk to us about Leak Pro.
Well, we want to thank Leak Pro for sponsoring today's episode of the Trade Talks. Leak Pro, we build the most precise leak detection system for professional plumbers. It's all an acoustical. They're both acoustical devices. Everything is sound based. If you know anything about old style of leak detection, you know that the old Geophones, our equipment is like Geophones on steroids. No tube squeezing or anything like that, banging your head and rattling your brain. It's just a simple device with a push button activation, one wire up to your headphones with a volume knob. That's it. Make it for indoor. I make one device, which is the Sidekick for indoor leaks. I make a probe, more durable for outdoor leaks. It's got a stainless steel rod. We also do an in-person training out here just outside of Dallas, Texas. Come see me for a 2-day training. Hit me up, book me for a call. We can discuss it further. But I teach line locating. I teach leak detection on water lines and sewer lines. We do some isolation test training on that to be able to determine where leaks are in the sewer system. We also cover marketing your company or adding this service to increase your revenue at your business or create your own leak detection service business. I have a lot of older retirees that are like, I'm tired of working in the field, but I'd really like to just come out and do leak detection and find leaks for people because it's not as involved. And it's like, no, it requires patience, and that's it. If you want to check us out, visit www.leak-pro.com, or you can give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO.
Guys, this stuff works. That's all I can say. It works. We used it yesterday or the day before.
Both.
Yeah, that day before, literally, it was like we had a leak. We knew about where it was. Randy got in there and dug around. He's like, look, I can't find the water line here. I took the Sidekick, little gadget right here, stuck it down in the hole and probed around until I felt something. I squeezed the trigger, and I mean, it was screaming right where the leak was. It came out to be fantastic. So, guys, look, it works. We use it every day. Now we're going to talk about all the trades. Managing equipment maintenance to reduce downtime. And we talked about vehicles last week. But when your equipment breaks down, and I used to get so pissed about this. You pull up to a job site, you got guys that are working, and you open up the back of the van, and the camera's thrown in there. It looks like they threw it from about 50 feet away just to see if they could get it in the back of the van. When you treat $3,000 equipment, $12,000 equipment like that, it's not good. And when that equipment doesn't work and you're out on a job and you're like, man, I really need this. Well, guess why we don't have it? The way you treated it. But let's talk about scheduling maintenance on equipment to make sure that it stays like it's supposed to stay.
It's huge. You don't want to lose money because somebody didn't check something. One of our big ones, when welders, I didn't fill up the tank this morning. put gas in it. Don't do these small things. He was in the middle of a weld and he screwed something up because the machine stopped because you missed a small step. You want to have a checklist. We used to have paper sheet checklist, but also nowadays carry a tablet around. Create a on their phone a checklist that they can go through and mark things. At our old company, we had that was coming out was cell phone apps to where you could actually have logs of everything. You could record the hours used. You could use everything. And every time you used it, they created a log so that they had this digital representation of everywhere that it was used, what happened. You could track everything on that. And that's huge, being able to track all that.
You know, and here's the deal. And look, I'm like Randy. I've worked for some of the biggest mechanical contractors there are. A lot of these companies that I've worked for, they had a deal worked out with the tool place where when a job's over, you send all the tools back to the tool place where you bought them, and they'd come in and service them. They'd look at them, they'd check them out. They may replace the brushes, whatever it is. They'd run it through their tests and say, "Hey, we need to work on this one. We need to work on this one." Pretty cool stuff. Walter says, "It is that way. You guys have a goal. I love having goals. Makes it work." Hello, how are you? Very nice. We're doing fantastic. And Ahmed, thank you very much. But at the end of the day, managing your tools, you got to train employees to say, "Hey, this tool, there's something wrong with it," not just keep going with it.
Yeah, I used to hate going to a job site and getting, oh, go help this crew out. Okay, yeah, no problem. Hey, grab me a Sawzall. Oh, ours is busted. Have you turned it into the tool cage? Oh no, it's just in the box. Well,
I think we might need it one day.
You're just gonna do without it, and what, you want me to pull out a hacksaw, dude? Like, come on. When a tool goes down, turn it in to whoever it needs to be dealt with. If there's nobody at your company, you're the guy. Guess what? You're the guy. Get it fixed, get it replaced, whatever it is that you need to do, because a tool being down is not worth spending extra labor on a job just because you didn't treat a tool right or something like that.
And guys, those tools save you time and money. And if you've got one down, it's not a good thing. We'll say hello to Matt McDonough. Good to see you in here, brother. Guys, remember, if you haven't hit the notification bell, make sure you do that down at the bottom. Just hit the subscribe, ring the bell. That way you don't miss out. We do this every day at 10 o'clock. Love to have y'all in here and see what y'all are thinking, what's going on. TikTok, Instagram. If y'all got questions or comments, love for y'all to jump over and talk to us. Tell us where you came from. If you got a question, put a Q in front of it. We'll jump in there and say hello. But if you ignore small maintenance issues on your tools, the tool's gonna die. It's I talked earlier about my Oura ring. Tell me, hey, your body is tired. You're not getting enough sleep. Your temperature's starting to elevate. Your heart rate's elevating. Your breathing is elevating. Those are signs you're getting sick. And here I am eating cough drops because my throat's been hurting. My tool's not working right. Okay. When your Sawzall starts making noise, you can start hearing those brushes grinding and stuff like that. It's like, hey, we need to go ahead and put this in the shop, or call them and say, hey, send us a replacement out here. I've got one I've got to put in the shop. You don't want to be without your tools. It's crazy. And I like this. Matt says, hey, tools are a tradesman's life. It is. That is your lifeline. It's your source of income. It's your future. So taking care of those tools, that's what it's all about. All right, laws and licenses. OSHA is cracking down on job site safety violations, and they do this all the time, y'all. They will literally pull a crew where they've got 10 OSHA officers from around the country. They'll say, we're going to Dallas this week. There's 6 big jobs going on here downtown. Let's sit around them for the first day or two and take pictures and videos. And then they walk up the next day and it's like, Mr. Wakefield, how are you doing? It's like, I'm doing good. It's like, well, we want to talk to you about hanging off the side of the building. It's like, well, I would never do that.
Really?
Really? Because this picture, doesn't that look like you? I mean, same red beard, same vest, same hard hat. It happens.
Hey, I had one, and like I was working on some cooling towers. Okay, I'm in a lift up at the top of the cooling tower. So I'm tied off to the lift, but it is not overhead because there is absolutely nothing over my head whatsoever. So I was tied off to the lift, standing up on the rails, doing what I had to do. And I look over and there's a concrete guy taking a picture. And I'm like, hey, boss, safety man's going to be calling soon. Here's what's going on. I want you to know I'm tied off. Da, 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 da. There's not, so that you know, the next morning, there's 50 sheets printed out laying in the middle of a table for a meeting, and it's my picture. He brought me one back. He said, I wanted you to see it. But I instantly said, yeah, here's everything that was going on. Guy instantly told me, oh, yeah, there's a dude taking a picture. You're going to hear about it. He was doing everything right per his OSHA training. And they were like, oh, he was tied off. Oh, okay. He couldn't see that. Nope, my guy knew exactly. That's why he instantly told me, boss, I want you to be aware of what I'm doing right now because you're going to hear about this later.
Yeah, I had the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ed walks in. I've got a ladder straddling a header. I'm straddling the ladder to get right here in the middle, working in a chase. And I've got my hands up here, but I see Ed walk in, and I just walk in, and sure enough, you see him pull the camera out. And I keep working. I look down, and he's looking at me. Puts the camera back in. I said, now, Ed, I've seen you pull that camera out many times. I've never seen you not take a picture. He said, Roger, I'm looking at it, and I don't see how you can do it anywhere else. He said, look, you're tied off.
That's
got your
it.
harness on.
Yeah.
He said, are you straddling the ladder? Yeah. Should you be? No. But I'm thinking if you set that ladder up over there, you're going to have to, thing we talk about on ladders, leaning outside of the rails, you're going to have to lean too far out to get to it and use the hilty. I was drilling that anchor. He said, I don't see any other way to do it. I said, Ed, look, I came in early to get this done. That way my apprentices didn't even see me. He's like, look, I didn't take a picture. You're good.
That's it.
So a good safety guy does understand.
They do. And OSHA's cracking down more, guys. They're increasing fines once again. Why? Because nobody's taking them serious enough. Guys, they're trying to cut down on injuries on a job. That's why they're putting all these rules into place. It's to keep us with all of our fingers and all of our toes going home the same as you showed up every day.
Which is exactly how it should be. On-site safety managers are big too on these projects, guys. I talked about Ed. Ed was great. Ed caught you doing something wrong. He took a picture. It's like, hey, picture don't lie. There's what I saw. It was his job. Can't get mad at him for it.
And he'd take that picture. Everybody would learn from that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just, oh, hey, Roger, here's
It
a
wasn't
picture
just
of
to
you
get you
doing
in
this.
trouble.
I need you to know. They wanted to make everybody aware so that nobody else was actually creating the same mistake.
Absolutely.
Somewhere else.
Which is great.
That's it.
All right, so let's get into business training because growing a roofing business in 2025, and I've been part of best practice groups. I've told you all that many, many times. I went to a leadership symposium one day. It's a 2-day event, and one of the people at my table was a roofer from Canada. And this is the first time I'd come to the leadership meeting like this. And I asked him, I said, so do coming to these things help you? It was the end of my first year in this best practice group. And he said, Roger, look, he said, a few years back, I was doing $1 million a year. I joined this best practice group. He said, I did 2 million the next, 4 million the next, 8 million the next. We did 16 last year. And guess what? I'm on pace to do 32 million this year. Guys, $32 million at a 20% profit margin is about $6 million profit per year. That's the profit that goes into the owner's pocket. Not a bad way to do it. But Randy, what have you come up with for growing a roofing company?
Well, so roofing is expected to be a $50 billion industry by 2026. But the competition's growing. I'd always heard in the trades, oh, hey, you want to start a quick trade business? Roofing's probably the easiest one to get into. I'm going to suggest if you are going to do that, go be a roofer for a little bit at least. Okay. I like to know the trade that I'm actually going to own. Not everybody's that way, and I understand. But some of the ways that you can stand out and make your business stand out from others, offer some longer warranties on the work that you put in. Maybe not necessarily the material against other things, but against your actual install. Because some roofers come in and they hodgepodge some stuff and it's not quite right. So show off what you do different than everybody else. Uh, Invest in drone inspections. This is where everything's going to. Nobody has to get up on a ladder. You can come out with a drone. You can cruise through and inspect roofs in a neighborhood. You can actually go to the homes where there's issues and problems. This opens up completely new revenue streams. And then most homeowners are unaware of what's going on with the problems on their roofs and things like this. So this can really make your business stand out and create that great relationship with customers on the front end.
And I love that. But one of the other things that I think is huge, and this is something that I learned from this guy sitting there that day. So if you're in the roofing business, think about this. He literally said, Roger, I don't try to sell everybody a new roof. If they need repairs, we do repairs. A lot of roofing companies don't. They're like, look, we don't do repairs, we do replacements. He said, number one, I can send somebody out to do a roofing repair. They're not cheap. It takes a lot of work. You got to peel it back, peel the paper back, peel the shingles back, do all this. He said, but in about a half a day, a roofing repair is about $1,800. So you can send a person out to do 2 of those a day, make almost $4,000. And trust me, you're not paying him $4,000. You've got some materials involved. You've got some labor involved. But now you're the guy that came in and said, hey, we can fix that. You don't need a new roof. But now you know what? They trust you. As a matter of fact, they love you. And I tell people all the time, people buy from people they know, love, trust, and they're connected to. And if you've come out and take care of them like that, they're connected to you. And you're who they want to call.
I was going to say, and then any story that they hear from any one of their friends going, man, I've got this leak. Oh, you better call this guy. He fixed mine. He didn't have to replace the whole thing. He fixed the problem and addressed it. And I would recommend him to anybody. That's the guy you want to be.
And I love that. Maintenance plans are a good thing to do for roofs. You can say, hey, like what we do an annual inspection. We just come out and look at it. There may have been a hail damage while you were out of town and didn't even realize it, but we just come out and do an annual inspection. But if you come out and do that annual inspection, then you find something wrong. You're like, hey, look, we can just fix this. This is an easy repair. Stuff like that is a good way to do it. But if you really want repeat clients in the roofing industry, be the guy that fixes their little problem. Be the guy that makes the repairs and says, look, you don't need a roof right now. This roof has still got another 4 or 5 years in it. If you want it, we can do it. But my thought is let's just fix this and move on. Stuff like that, that will bring you repeat customers forever. Now, we talk about vehicles all the time, but we talk about leasing and purchasing and new and old and all this. But how do you choose the right work truck for your trade?
Well, so depending on what trade you're in, like plumbing, let's use, for example, plumbing has a lot of heavy tools, a lot of heavy equipment. So they're going to need a more heavy duty truck. You can't run around in a little lightweight truck. But if you're like a little electrical service guy, maybe doesn't have to have a whole lot of extra equipment.
You can drive a smart car.
You can drive a small, and the reason that I use that, I used to work on TCU campus, and they have these itty bitty bus van things. Electricians loved them because they never had anything heavy to carry around. I had to have a truck around to be able to carry all of our tools and things because we were a little heavier duty. So picking the right truck for your trade is huge. Do you need lightweight? Do you want heavyweight? Do you want to lease it? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to go electric, hybrid, gas, diesel? Like there's so many options. Make sure you think them all through, put numbers to it, research the data. I'm going to jot down to research the electrical charge versus fuel
cost.
Yeah,
the
cost. We were talking about
last
that
time.
before, and I do want to study that. But like, that's huge because if you get a lightweight vehicle and you can't get all of your tools to the job, that is definitely not the right vehicle for you in your trade. And you want to keep a mind on that. leasing we've talked about is a great option to go nowadays because you're only paying the month to month instead of everything up front. If you're kind of starting out, that's something to keep in mind. If you can find a good vehicle cheap, hey, go for it. Get it. Let it cover you that first few years so that you can build up something before you start leasing. And that'd be great too. But the way it looks is huge for a lot of customers too. You want that professional look. So you don't want to give too much.
You know, one thing that I look back at, and I know people that never buy new vehicles. They only buy vehicles that are 2 or 3 years old. They let somebody else wear the new off of them, and then they buy them. With leased vehicles and things like that, you can get a leased vehicle that's got 30,000 miles on it, but they can't sell it as new. So you're going to save quite a bit of money on it. That's a good thing to look at. But also look at me. I bought 2 used vans. Look at the resale value. When you're done with a vehicle, what's the resale value of it? And if it's a plumbing van that your guys have really taken care of, so you've had it 4 or 5 years, you've got 60, 80, 100,000 miles on it, you can still sell that and get good value out of it. Well, now you've made your money off of it. It's kept your guys running. It's kept your guys busy. You've done really, really well. Invest in new vehicles. Your guys love it because now they're like, hey, I got a new vehicle. They get to drive home. Hey, honey, guess what? I got a new truck. And it doesn't cost them anything. They get to drive around in a new, modern, soft, comfy seat vehicle, clean, sharp, good looking, and reward the ones that take care of their vehicles the best. Give them the new vehicle and say, hey, when everybody else say, hey, why does Henry get a new vehicle and I don't? Well, Henry takes great care of his vehicle. Yours, we've got to remind you 10 times before you get the oil change. Why would we give you a new vehicle? And
or Henry's hand-me-down.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. Or we're just going to give you Henry's hand-me-down. Hey, you took great care of it. Yeah, but I want a new one. Why does he get the new one? He takes great care of them. And guys, when you start looking at stuff like that, it makes your employees want to take better care of it. But another big thing, and I just thought of, and it really doesn't have anything to do with this, but how clean do they keep it? How clean do they keep their dashboard? And I remember at the best practice group that I was in, this guy says, man, I'm pulling up on this van. This van is beautiful. And he says, I'm literally pulling out my phone. I'm videoing it. It is amazing. And I know the owner and I want to send this to him. And I get up to the front and the front dash is covered with books and papers and notepads. And you can't even hardly see the driver. He says, I turned off my phone. He said, that's not what I want to see. Guys, that is a rolling billboard. And how you take care of it, how you present yourself and your company, that makes all the difference in the world. Roofers.
Hey, you know, I may have directed a little bit to help get this enrolled in.
Because we love architectural sheet metal 101.
It is one I hear about a lot, you know. This, how to fabricate a standing seam metal roof.
And that's a cool video.
I know. I've watched some of his videos before when we were talking about new roofs and stuff. He's like, hey, have you seen this? I'm like, no, not really. I'll look at. And once I open the video, I'm like, oh yes, I've seen tons of those roofs. I know exactly what you're talking about now. Okay, let's watch this install though, and how it's all done. He teaches you a lot. It's really cool. Like,
is that the one where he shows how to create the notch in it where it doesn't slide down and it locks up and stuff like that?
This is more the fabricating side. Yeah, the prep for it before it ever gets sent out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm talking when he's on the roof. He's got some notching things that he does. It's just so freaking cool. But it's neat because he uses a great social media strategy. And a lot of people don't do stuff like this, but talk about his channel and what he does, the way he does his videos, the before and after.
And like transformational videos are amazing for trades because you get to see this before, rough, old, let's say old shingle roof. And then you get this after of this beautiful metal roof it's all pretty and shiny and looking great. To watch the transformation of everything happen, though, is amazing. And like, I like transformational videos, some of the yard things that you see,
The
driveway
yards,
cleanings.
landscaping is my favorite.
It's they just it's so awesome. Roofing videos, bathroom remodels, everything's out there, guys. Take the before picture, film a little bit during, do a slow mo or a time lapse. Time lapse is huge for these transformation type videos and styles. Only takes one camera if you want. It's how most people get started, with one. Get out there and go for it. Transformational videos are huge in social media these days.
And the cool thing about, and look, I love what Architectural Sheet Metal 101 does. But if you look at how clean and sharp the work is when it's done, I know a lot of roofers on social media. I know a lot of hype roofers on social media. I know a lot of quality, good install roofers on social media. And look, they're all fun to watch. But if you're trying to grow a business, and I teach people social media all the time. How do you use social media? How do you use YouTube? How do you use LinkedIn? How do you use Facebook to grow your business? How do you use Instagram and TikTok to grow your business? When you learn stuff like this, and here's the thing though, and I'm gonna throw a whole lot of people under the bus. You got to be good at what you do. If you're a halfway plumber and you think, hey, I'm gonna show people how to make shortcuts every day, that's not what people want to learn. They want to learn how to do it right. And their thought process is, man, if he's teaching shortcuts, is this really who I want working on my house?
Yeah. I like to know of shortcuts. It's great
If we're the tradesperson in the field.
for that tight spot that you need an escape.
Right.
And an alter way of thinking. And that's great. But we want to know, what is the right way to install it per all the laws and licensings, please, per the codes, per everything. What is the right way to do this? I had to get rid of a plumber one time on a job because every corner he hit, he would double 90 to make the turn. And I'm like, why are you like wasting all these extra fittings, bud? Well, you just see it different than I do. I said, yeah, I guess so, but I see it the normal way. Like, I don't know why we've got.
I see it the way we're gonna put it.
Why
in.
we got it 5 elevation changes
Yeah.
to go around this room. I don't see why you did any of this stuff. It's not even shown like that on the drawing. Here's what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. See, that BOP elevation is there for a reason.
Like,
But it's funny because when you show people the right way, I've got one of my videos on YouTube. Went out to Wiley. We had tunneled up under a house from 2 locations because there were 2 problems. And Amber told me, she said, hey, the homeowner's out there waiting on you. He wanted to meet you.
Okay.
Because we were going out there to video. I said, that's fine. Because she asked, can we video? He said, yeah. So I get out there and I'm up under the house and I'm up under the side. And I come out and I come climbing up and he's there. So I got out and shook his hand, said hello. He said, do you mind if I tell you why I called you? I said, no, I'd love to hear that. He said, you made a video talking about why you're not the cheapest plumbing company in town.
Yep.
Why you're probably one of the most expensive. He said, and I got to be honest with you, I was looking for the cheapest plumber. But when you talked about using the right tools, using the right equipment, you know, when we tunneled under houses, we use stainless steel rod and stainless steel clevis hangers. A lot of people are using galvanized. It's cheaper.
Yep.
You know, as an estimator, it's a lot
100%.
cheaper.
Yeah.
But I wanted to use what's right because that stainless steel rod and hanger are going to last a whole lot longer than that galvanized under the ground. And we did stuff like that. And he said, look, I got to be honest with you. You're more expensive than the other people. But when I saw your video, I thought, man, I don't want the cheapest. I want the best. Make a video explaining to someone why you're the best, why you're not the cheapest. Because if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, I don't care. People want value. And you can charge more if you're bringing way more value. And when you make videos and explain why to them, it makes perfect sense. Big stuff.
Huge.
Randy, what's a great way to market a roofing business for storm damage repair?
Uh, I'm going to say offer free inspections that can create some ads that target areas where bad things have happened, where storms have come through. Uh, just about every ad that I deal with now, you can create local areas and it only pops in this area because that's where all these people are affected and they need your offer or whatever it is that you have. So that's huge.
No, I do. I love that. Facebook ads are becoming kind of big.
They are. I started tinkering with them halfway through December. A month in,
6 weeks.
I've learned a lot already.
Yeah, you're 6
About
weeks because
5
we're right
weeks,
at the end of January.
Mhm.
So about 6 weeks. And let's talk about that. I want to ask in a minute about preparing for OSHA's increased enforcement. But my thought to you is, have you seen a difference running ads on Facebook compared to just having your website up? Because most plumbing companies, they don't run ads. They've just got a website up, which is great. It works. Build an amazing website. You want to learn SEO, go check out the Leak Pro website. It's phenomenal. But running ads has really made a difference, hasn't it?
It has. Like before, I didn't ask a whole lot whenever I'd have customers reach out or talk to people or all my meetings where you heard about us. That's become one of my normal. Any order I get, hey, I'm just curious, how'd you hear about me? Talking to people on the phone, man, how'd you hear about me? Look, I started talking about leak detection and you just popped up on my Facebook. It's one of those things like you start talking about it and it shows up. And it's like, well, glad I started running ads when I did. But it actually, I'm getting that live feedback from people that are seeing my ads roll. And, I started out, it was just a picture. It was nothing crazy, just basic and simple. It does not take a super fancy ad to increase awareness.
Yeah.
I just wanted people to know about us.
Top of mind.
More plumbers. I want them to know about us. I feel like there's a lot of plumbers on Facebook, and that's what I gear towards is plumbers because leak detection. But find your audience, who you want, and run your ads there, and it'll increase a lot.
So all I want to say about the OSHA increased enforcement, do internal audits. Have a safety guy. Have one of your people become the safety guy and go out to jobs and check what are people doing right, what are people doing wrong. And I just wanted to point that out. But Leak Pro, how can people find out more about Leak?
Man, you can visit the website, www.leak-pro.com. You can browse through that, take a look and read through everything. You can also book me for an appointment. We can get on a Zoom and I can run you through the equipment. We can talk about how you can use it in your business, or we can just discuss the training and things like that and getting you into that so that you can actually leave here and get trained with the confidence knowing that you can walk into any home and locate a leak. So if you want to check us out, visit www.leak-pro.com, or you can give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO.
Guys, we don't just teach you how to find leaks. We teach you how to make the phone ring. And to me, that's the biggest part. You can be the best plumber in the world at leak detection, but if nobody knows it, you don't know how to make that phone ring, you're not going to get a lot of calls. So, guys, check it out, leak-pro.com and 1-8888-LEAK-PRO. Talk to Squirt, talk about the training, talk about the equipment, figure out what's going to be best for you. And special shout out again to, here we go, Mr. Matt McDonough says, I started off in word of mouth. Guys, that's how we all start out. We don't have money for marketing and advertising and stuff. So word of mouth, you need to get out and network and meet people and do things. And I love, he says that safety is super important. Everyone has to go home at the end of the day. And guys, that includes us. So we're going to get off here and go home. I appreciate y'all being here each and every day. Remember, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, get the notification. That is the most important part. And if you know somebody in the trades you think would be interested in hearing some of this stuff, love it if you would share this video with them.
For sure. I'm Henry Wakefield. Glad to see you, and I hope to see you here tomorrow.
Thank you, Colton.